Hello everyone and welcome to our Game Week 24 preview. I'm Chris and Kieran's here too. Hello Keek, how are you?
I'm all good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well today. I'm looking forward to, well, I don't know if I am looking forward to, but let's say ready to dissect and plan ahead a little bit for the next few game weeks, starting with Game Week 24. Yeah, it's stressful, it is. It's really stressful.
Yes.
Um, let's jump in and just talk quickly about Game Week 23. That finished on Monday evening. You had a big Monday night. Big Monday night.
Yes. Yeah, I needed it. I got 73 points up until the City players. It was looking pretty woeful. Yeah, because obviously Watkins was around
Mm,
100%, so he wasn't really helping my rank at all. I had basically all my defense get injured. Concert would get injured on the 58th minute or something, and
so
just
annoying.
he didn't even look injured to me. But obviously, he's now been confirmed as like 3 to 4 weeks out, so that's another problem for me. And then,
Mm,
um, yeah, and then obviously Darwin didn't start. Annoying, and I was hoping at least he'll come on because Gabriel got the -1. I was just like, it's just yeah, Gusto couldn't even just get 1 point, and Porro being terrible, and just, yeah, and then everyone else was returning, like the Richarlisons and the Gordons, and I was just yeah, not having a good time, to be honest. But um yeah, the Monday night City treble with the with Foden, and I'm not one of those content creators that
mm,
bench Foden, because why on earth would you? Um,
yeah.
so yeah, 73. It managed to still be a red arrow
I know
of like
how.
1,000, like
Mm,
209K at the moment, down from 208K. So yeah, frustrated, but yeah, there was lots of scores of like 90 plus on Twitter and
mm.
things, and um, yeah, I guess I just need that fifth midfielder maybe.
Yeah, I think it was the captaincy pick. Like looking
Mm.
at both of our teams, like you had five players that scored one or less, and yet you still got 73, which is like such a high average. But yeah, it was probably Watkins' captaincy. We talked about it on the show last week, and I had that definite FOMO of Haaland being back, and I was talking up Palmer a little bit, and it's funny, like the whole of our, I think for you as well, well, actually, apart from one player, all of our forward lines returned. I think they pretty much all returned either as much as or more than Haaland. So yeah, that's
Mm.
probably where the difference was. But yeah, no, same really. I thought like 69 and obviously you got 73 seemed like a good score, but I like a quite a big red hour off the back of that for like 20 or 30k. So yeah, a bit of a strange one really.
I thought you were a madman when I saw that you'd benched Jota, but
I know. I just thought Alvarez seemed like a better pick against Brentford. Like Arsenal's defensive record was good, and to be fair, Arsenal should have kept a clean sheet in that game, apart from Gabriel and
um,
Saliba having like a moment of madness.
it wasn't really Gabriel's fault. I think it was Saliba plus Reyes. Not sure Gabriel could have done too much
No,
about it, but yeah.
oh, it was a bit yeah. Anyway, it transpired against me. So let's talk about game week 24 because it's a good prelude really for the teams that are doubling in game week 25. Liverpool, obviously City, Brentford, and Luton. And we've also had more doubles confirmed just before we started streaming about Bournemouth and Luton as well. So Luton have got two doubles coming up and a blank. So yeah, it's worth just mentioning them. But let's start with Liverpool because I just wanted to talk about them. They've got a good entry point this week at home to Burnley, and after that they've got the Brentford and Luton game in the double 25. Then they've got a blank. Then they play Nottingham Forest away, City at home, and Everton away. So the fixtures are good, I suppose, if not a bit mixed. It might be a bit of a, I think that block of three, the blank, Nottingham Forest and Man City isn't the best, but Liverpool have been playing well. So against
Yeah.
Arsenal, 6 shots in the box, zero point 0.4 xG, which is one of their lowest of the season. Typically they get an xG of 2.2 per game, so way
Mm.
down, and like half their average shots in the box. So I think that kind of shows how good Arsenal were / how bad Liverpool were, and I wouldn't expect that to continue because they've just been so relentless this season. Like in the previous two games without Salah and Trent, they'd scored 4 goals in each. I think looking at this game, it looks like a clear Liverpool win, and underlying numbers are bad for Burnley, and they've just been pretty woeful for most of the season. I think they're pretty much destined to go down now. Seem like they're going to stick with company as well. Underlying numbers for the last 4 games, XGC of 8.7, so that's 13th worst of all teams, and XG 5.8, that's the 17th worst of all teams. So Paul could look good for a cleaner, and maybe you might be gravitating immediately towards Trent for this, but I don't know what you think about Bradley as an option at the minute, because there's talk that if Szoboszlai is out for a month, which sort of is rumoured to be the case, Trent could be moving back into midfield. Bradley has started the last 2, and he's obviously done well. 29 points in those 2 games, 3 attacking returns. Don't know, what do you think he's like is he a risk to bring in now, or even at all? He just seems like a good budget enabler for a cheap defender for a potential double.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to judge because I think I tweeted out saying like he balled out, and it was such a shame for him to just like not even be benched and stuff like that. But I didn't realize that his I think he had a family bereavement or something. I had no idea that had happened, and so obviously that made sense for him not being there. But so is he just going to come straight back in? Is that going to affect his form? I mean, I don't know. Not want to speculate on that so much, but I think he's a risk. I'll just say that. But like he did show the form that he probably should be in starting. And if you said Szoboszlai is out, then if Trent can go into midfield, then yeah, Bradley just looked like he was just bombing on, and just probably like old style Robertson, where he was just like getting so far forward constantly, and just like constant energy, and he just looked great, didn't he? So yeah, budget is good. Like I've got Konsa that I need to be moving on. But then maybe I just go for someone who's a bit more like just going to nail it on and play all minutes, like someone in Van Dijk. Is Trent going to play every single game? Like I don't know either. So like Van Dijk just seems like he's nailed on to obviously play all the minutes, assuming he's not injured. And then he does have goal threat in as well. So and sort of centre backs that are going to play all the minutes are usually pretty good in doubles. So I don't mind that as an option either. Yeah,
that's quite. I hadn't really sort of considered like Van Dijk much, and Robertson's making appearances off the bench now. Can I see that? Obviously, like you mentioned, Trent's back. I think I'm interested in Bradley just purely from a budget point of view. Like he seems like a nice replacement for someone without being like a big investment. But I suppose haven't got that game to see if he's going to play in that right back role with Trent in the midfield, because you'd almost be taking, even though this fixture is a good entry point for a Liverpool player, it's obviously not good if he's going to get benched in that one.
It could be good to wait one, isn't it? And then
so,
just see what the situation is for 25.
Yeah, so he might be good. But no, I like your shout of Van Dijk and Robertson. He's a bit of an outside maybe, really. He's a funny price at the minute. Like he's not really been delivering attacking returns this season. He's still quite expensive. So yeah, like you say, I'd probably opt, if I was going to look at a Liverpool defender, Van Dijk would probably be the one to get.
I think we can only assume that Robertson is going to get his place back eventually. Like, just I guess he's been coming back from the injury, and he's just not sort of gone straight back in. I guess they've been slow on the pickup for him to start. So like 25. If he starts the next game, you would imagine 25 he would as well. So it's another one to look at. Like with Bradley, if he starts the next game, then they should be fine to be picking up for 25.
So how would you? I mean, I'll move on to attackers after this. How would you like rank the priority defensive, or how would you prioritize the defensive assets for Liverpool? Would you want to play it safe and pick a Van Dijk or an Alisson, or are you thinking that?
Yeah, I've seen people looking at Alisson as well. Yeah.
What are you thinking of doing defensive wise for? I just talking about this as like a block of 3 really for Liverpool, because I think this is such a good game to get a clean sheet, and then you're getting the double off the back of it. It kind of makes sense to make the move this week.
Yes. I don't know. Probably like I guess Trent at the top, but I just don't think I would for him just for the money.
Yeah.
And then I guess Van Dijk, then Bradley. If Bradley starts the next one, then I think Bradley will probably skip above Van Dijk.
Yeah.
So it's probably those 3, then Robertson, and then the other centre backs and Gomez and Kanate, etc.
I kind of hope that because Bradley's played so well in those 2 games, and he was missing for not an injury related reason, that if Klopp will get asked about it and he might give us some like insight, because if Sli's out, then that obviously does open that route. So yeah, one to watch for sure.
So we sort of saw this with Trent when he first started coming into the team. He was so young.
Yeah.
We just weren't sure if he was definitely going to be nailed on, etc. And then he just basically won the place and just kept playing from there, didn't he?
Yeah.
So maybe that's in the line for Bradley to do.
Be. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they've been talking for a while about moving Trent into midfield full time. So maybe this is just like a way for that to naturally progress, and maybe we're just seeing the very start of it, even though he's young. So yeah, no, it could definitely be one to watch, and he's low owned as well, big differential. Just on the attackers then, again I mentioned about Burnley, but XG per 90 across the last 4 game weeks, Darwin is absolutely smashing the others. He's like more than 0.5 XG per 90 ahead of the next nearest, which is Gakpo.
I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy how much better he's been, but the points aren't there, or relative points anyway. Gakpo's ahead of Jones, and then both of them are like almost double what Yotta's provided. So like, Yotta's like way down, and then expected points as well. Darwin shocked me, like expected points per 90 minutes over the last 4 games. He's actually on 9.4, which is insane. And it's like nearly double what Yotta is on 5.4, Jones on 5, and Diaz on 4.9. So, stats-wise, Darwin has been crushing it, as we've seen all season. But the returns, apart from that one game against Bournemouth, haven't quite been there to match, really. Yes, 7.4 million. He's 14% owned. He's still a differential when you compare him to like another double game week striker in similar price in Alvarez. So when you're looking at like the next block of free, obviously Alvarez plays in 26ers as well. Are you thinking, just on a general point on Liverpool, I've sort of positioned myself where I'm going to be more double City striker with Alvarez and Haaland for the double. Do you think you're going to get a second or third Liverpool attacker? If so, would it be Jota? Would it be Gakpo? Would it be someone else? It'd be great if we knew Salah was coming back. I've left the money there for it.
Yeah, for me, because I've got De Bruyne, I think it's made it difficult to get Salah back. So it would probably be Jota, but I'm thinking possibly just not bother at this point. I think I'm just Darwin plus a defender and then just leave it, I think. Because I'd have to be selling like Saka or something, or De Bruyne, and just doesn't really make sense to sell De Bruyne when I've got him in for the double anyway. So selling Saka, maybe even Palmer, because he blanks in 26, doesn't he? Do Arsenal bank in 26?
They don't. No, they play.
No, they don't. So it would probably be Palmer. If I could afford get Palmer to Jota, then I probably would do that. But it's just like the sort of 26 blank. I've got Porro still. I've got 2 Chelsea still. Do I not have enough transfers to be dealing with that as well? Because I would have something like 4 or 5 or maybe 6 blankers. So
do you think at the maybe going into a little bit of free hit chat, but do you think you're lining that up for 26, or are you trying to get like a
definitely not blanking 26? No.
Okay.
Free hit, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that pretty much sort of wraps up all I wanted to chat about with Liverpool. But I think while looking at them for this week, it's probably also good to think about who you could target as a potential replacement for them in game week 26. Like I say, on the back of that, they've got a away game against Forest, like I think it is, and then that home game against Man City, and then I believe they've got a blank in game week 29. So you'd basically be getting them back for. Well, basically after 25, you've basically got blank 2 games, one of which is against City, and then another blank again. So, there's teams there who are going to be popular replacements. I sort of highlighted Aston Villa players or Arsenal players, both based on FA Cup results, but you kind of think Villa are going to win that game. Both of whom have got good fixtures between game week 26 and 29. Could mean you save your free hit chip. I mean, Arsenal players for replacements, they've got fixtures against Newcastle, Sheffield United, Brentford, and Chelsea. When Liverpool have got 2 blanks, Villa have got Nottingham Forest, Luton, and Tottenham. So both decent options.
Yep, fair.
Cool.
Okay, so I'll talk about Man City versus Everton. Obviously Man City have the double as well, and they don't blank in 26, so triple ups should be the way to go with City. obviously hitting form. Their form in the league has been 5 wins out of the last 5, and then a draw before that. Their fixtures are obviously Everton this week, and then in the double they've got Chelsea at home and Brentford at home. So 3 home fixtures in a row, which is obviously a good thing. Haaland has done most of his hauling at home this season, so that's obviously a good sign. Bournemouth away after that, then Man United at home, which is never really a bad fixture for City anymore. But yeah, since game week 18 to 23, their XG has been 11.6, which is third, which obviously we're usually seeing them at the top, but third is still fine. XGC of 5.0, which is second, only 0.1 behind Arsenal, but they've only actually kept 1 clean sheet in that time. They keep just leaking 1 goal a game, it seems like. So annoying for any defensive owners anyway. They've had 107 shots, which is third of all teams, 13 big chances, which is actually 13th, which is way down for City. But they've got 14 goals and 5 goals conceded in that time. But yeah, they're hitting form when it matters. All the squad are fit now, so there's obviously rotation rife. But so far we haven't really seen that, or haven't been sort of succumbed to that just yet. Like the players that are the ones in our teams are playing most of the games. Foden's, KDB's, Haaland's, they're all back and they're all going to be playing. And Alvarez seems to play as well. So happy days, I suppose. So on Everton, their form is really bad. They've drawn 3, and then they've had 3 losses from the last 6, so that's not good. Their fixtures are Man City, Crystal Palace at home, Brighton away, West Ham at home, and Man United away. So not great fixtures again. Their XG is 9.9, which is 11th, and then XGC is 9.8, which is also 11th. So basically, their shots, their big chances, they're all 11th as well, which is random. And they've had 4 goals in these from 18 to 23, which is 20th. So they're pretty mid-table on everything apart from scoring goals. Which is bad. So you would expect Man City at home here, probably a clean sheet, but at this point, who knows? So KDB, 10.8 million. He's 30% owned.
I can't believe that already.
That's crept up pretty damn quick, hasn't it? Yes. So, he's actually returned in every game since coming back from injury. He's got a 12, 7, and a 5 so far. His XG of 0.33, 8 shots, but 0 big chances himself. But then his XA has been 0.99, key passes of 8, and then big chances created of 3. So not bad on the XA side, not too bad on the shots wise, but 0 big chances, which is not ideal. But that's not really Kev's sort of bread and butter. So
true.
He is expensive, and it does, as I said, limit routes to Salah in double game at 25 if he is fit. I've obviously got him in just because I fancied it at the time, and he's sort of done he's done well enough for me, I suppose, in that time. What do you think of KDB? Are you going to target him at all?
No, I don't
think you are, right?
Well, I think I will. Like you say, it very much hinges on Salah because of budget. If Salah's back, so I won't get him this week for sure. Just otherwise, I think it'd be a shame to transfer him in and out. So if Salah's back, I think he's probably going to take the priority. But if he isn't, I think KDB's an easy buy for that third City midfield. I think he's probably getting more assured of minutes than most of the others in midfield. Probably bar Foden maybe now, considering.
So are you going to look at defence at all, City?
No, not at all. No, I just think they've just not been reliable enough. And I think I saw a stat that their defence this season has been the worst it's been since 2016-17, and I kind of think that goes for most of the league this season. Even just looking at our teams this week and past weeks, the number of times we say, we've all just got 1 or 2 pointers at the back, I just feel like none of them are worth a transfer investment. I don't know. I'd probably have to go back and see what my midfielder points compared to my defensive points are. But I don't back to your question. I'm not sure.
Maybe I can convince you on one of them. Gvardiol, other than Walker, I suppose, is the second good option, it seems like, in the defence. 4.8 million, 3.3% owned, so definite differential. He's had 5 times 90 minutes in the last 6 game weeks. His expected goal involvement is XGI versus Brentford is 0.22. But if you look at the eye test, he had loads of shots in that game. He could have hauled quite easily in that game. I think if any of his shots had gone in, which, and Flecken had an insane game for saves.
Yeah.
Then possibly some of the other players who got returns like Foden and stuff, they would have not got the hat tricks and things if any of those had gone in from Guardiola. So yeah, compared to Walker in that game, Walker had 0.14 XGI, and then Guardiola versus Burnley at home, he got 0.37 XGI, and Walker got 0.00. Obviously, he wasn't playing that game. 0.21 versus Newcastle away, and then Walker got 0.8. So that was when Walker got the assist, and then 0.1 versus Sheffield United at home, and Walker got 0.05. So he's beating him on pretty much every XGI involvement other than the one that Walker got the assist. And just like I said, from that eye test, he's been pretty unlucky not to get assists and like goals recently. Just watching him, he's so far up the pitch, taking loads of shots. Him and Foden and Alvarez, whoever's on that side, just seem to be linking up well. I think there's no reason to drop him. Obviously, there is everyone fit. Akanji can play there. Stone's fit. It's just but he has played 5 times 90 in the last 6. So I like him. No, he's not. 4.8 million into the defense. I guess he's dropped twice, I suppose, from that. So he must have started at 5 million because he wouldn't have started at 4.5. So certainly an option. If I didn't have 3 triple city attack, then I would certainly look at Guardiola. I think this game is obviously good for a clean sheet, Everton, and then the double is less like great, but 2 home games, I can see them cleaning in both if they just tidy up that random 1 goal they concede every game when they just, I don't know, they go to sleep or something.
No, that's the thing that just puts me off. But I know what you mean. I've been looking at thinking, surely there's going to be some points coming for a City defender, even if it's like a goal involvement and a return. And Ake's been at it recently. Walker's been at it recently. They have been playing well and getting some attacking returns between them, but it's just that lack of clean sheets. But to be fair, everyone's getting like a lack of clean sheets at the minute, it feels like, especially if they're like the template and the high ownership players. So you're right. Maybe a City defender is a good route to go, but maybe I still need a bit more convincing. If they get a clean sheet this weekend, I could see myself like doing it.
If Edison could just stop doing one sort of crazy thing a game, then that would be great as well. His one against Brentford was he just kind of ran out the box to go for a cross that was like halfway out the box already, and it just like smashed into 2 players. Got nowhere near the ball. He's just crazy, that guy. So Haaland, obviously the last one. I think I'll be captaining him this week. I don't see there's any reason not to, really. I think he's back and starting. He played nearly 90 minutes. I assume he'll play 90 minutes at home this week. He does all his hauling at home, as we said. So, he wasn't back to his best. Obviously, last time did look a little bit on the fringes, but he was still top 5 for shots in Game Week 23 of strikers. He was 6th for XG, despite not really doing much in the XG. And then 2 key passes, 1 big chance created, so which led to the Foden goal, his hat trick. I think more minutes under his belt, he's just gonna, he's obviously gonna start scoring soon. So it's kind of relieving to have sort of the Norwegian big meat shield back. I think just captain on him and just decide between all the other 10 players each week sounds fine to me. Everton side for picks, I'm just gonna say don't bother. There's no one really to pick from Everton. Just this week, if you don't have 3 City already, just bring them in. It's a good game, and then they've got the double. They don't blank in 26. It's just Foden, Haaland, Alvarez, KDB. They're all good picks. One of the defense is fine too. I think this might be the week that the clean sheets start to happen, and the clean sheeters and the Man City defense backers finally get some points.
That would be good, because it would just like bust up a little bit of the defensive template, just because some Spurs, because of their blank Porro, Udogie like transfers out might happen, and there might just be like a little shift. So there might be a change there, which would be good. But I just need to see something against Everton for me to want to invest there.
Yeah, in the chat, someone's saying, "Are we think anyone going without Haaland?" But for us, we've both got him back in. I think he's going to be the standout captain option. I think you can go without him, that's for sure. He wasn't up to fitness speed, I suppose, last week. So you'll just be backing that continues. And as we've seen, the Foden got a hat-trick and Haaland only got an assist. So it's certainly possible, but you're just backing against a huge crowd and effective ownership.
Which is scary in itself, which is stupid, but it's scary. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, we've talked about this a lot this season, but maybe he is a safety blanket. So I want to just talk about the Aston Villa Man United game a little bit and some of their assets. I mean, this might be of interest to you just because of that an irritating Konsa injury, which just before the 60th minute, like you say, turns out he's got a much worse one. So you've got to look at someone to bring in there, just to help out in game weeks 26, 29. So like I mentioned earlier, about Liverpool players and teams you might want to target with Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool blanking in 26. Villa and Arsenal players look like they're going to be good options between game week 29. So I wanted just to talk about a couple of those. I mean, some of one's going to be obvious, but still not that highly owned. But just talking about Villa in general, they wobbled a little bit between game week 18 and 22. They only won last 5 games there. But after that demolition against Sheffield United, they've got good fixtures, no blanks. I think we kind of need to look at them as good placeholders in our team when others blank. They played Nottingham Forest in 26 and they play West Ham away in 29, obviously pending that blank. So they're both good fixtures when others are not playing. So Moreno obviously highlighted a lot by the fact that he scored a goal at the weekend, but he's only 2% owned, 5.1 million. He was so favoured at the end of last season. I don't know if you've considered him at all, but
I mean, I've got him on my draft league, which was nice.
Oh, have you? Nice.
Yeah, that was a good scenario this week.
Yeah, he just he was, like I say, he was a favourite at the end of last season. He obviously had that injury. I think he would have started first choice left back at the start of this season, and then he's just taken some time to get integrated. But he's now started 4 games in a row for the first time this season. Like, his attacking output is not great yet. His XA of just 0.4 over the last 4 games isn't the greatest, but it puts him amazingly just inside the top 10. He's had 5 key passes, which has kept his baseline bonus points high. He's expensive, I suppose, compared to, some City defenders, if you like, but a creative defender and possibly someone to look at if you're going to be downgrading maybe a VVD, Kanate, or upgrading from Bradley or TTA from maybe 26 when they have that blank, the game at home against Man City, which you wouldn't back for the cleaner, and another blank. So I think if you're going to load in on Liverpool defenders this game week, or if you've got them and then you're looking for a short-term hold, I think Moreno could be good across the next 4 game weeks. So yeah, he looked like a good defensive option. I don't think there's any point mentioning Watkins. Like you said, 51% ownership actual and over 100% EV, so I don't need to talk about him really.
Well, there is something to discuss with him.
Yeah. Do you
just
get rid of him?
Yeah. Do you get rid of him? Because obviously his fixtures in 25 is Fulham away and Forest at home in 26.
Yeah.
And then if you're looking at like a Tony or a Darwin, if people are bringing Darwin in, like you probably have to be selling Watkins because you've already got Haaland. Some people have Alvarez. Like, who's like, someone has to go, but then at the same time he's got such good fixtures.
He's been so good.
Yeah, like if I want to bring in Tony, for example, then I would have to sell Watkins when he's got like Fulham away and then Forest. Like, that seems like such a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
And Tony's fixtures obviously aren't that good anyway, and I obviously already have Darwin. So do I just forget Tony? That might be the way.
Yeah,
but,
I know exactly what you mean. Like, I've looked at my draft and thought, there's no way I can get any more doublers in, and then I see Watkins with his single, and I just think, is it worth it? But you're right. You'd probably be in a scenario. I mean, Watkins can go off, like against Sheffield United. He had that massive game against Brighton earlier in the season. He's capable of these mammoth hauls, and Villa can just slap a team if they want. And
Fulham away feels like a game that he could do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because Fulham will probably attack.
Yeah,
their attackers are attack minded and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a risk to. I mean, he returned in the game against Fulham earlier in the season, only scored 1 goal. But no, Watkins is a really tricky one because you look at all these players with doubles, but you just think he's been so consistent over the course of the season. You'll probably want him back, and when there's so many other players who perhaps aren't quite as nailed or aren't quite as reliable as him, he's probably, I don't know, maybe a bit safe. If you want to be risky, I think you can get rid of him, but
I think
go against
people are
that
looking
either.
at like Morris and Adebayo
Oh
and
God,
like,
no.
oh, it's just like I'm never selling Watkins for one of those
No,
two. Like,
no.
no chance. Tony is the only one I would consider. Like Mope has scored like 3 and 3, isn't it now? So,
Yeah, but
or 4 and 4 or something. So, I don't know.
yeah, I wouldn't consider him.
I guess if you got Solanke, you could sell him.
Yeah, but I think you'd probably want Solanke back because you got that double game week now in 28 against Luton, eyeballing up, which Solanke's like a prime candidate. So yeah, you'd be looking at selling him and then bringing him back. But yeah, I feel like that's exactly the issue we're going to have with loads of players over the next few game weeks. Just before we move on from Villa, the only other player to mention, just because he popped up again this weekend, is Douglas Luiz, because he
keeps doing it, doesn't he?
He keeps doing it. We talked about him earlier in the season, and he's still less than 10% owned. He's 5.5 million, so he's super budget. He's 19 points in the last 4 game weeks. That's 10th across all mids. So again, like I said, he's a good exit option if you get, for me, who's got Jota and maybe others who've got Liverpool asset. If Salah's coming back, and you need to perhaps do 2 transfers to work him back in, Douglas Luiz looks like a decent fit there with these games. He's got 2 returns in the last 4. It doesn't scream buy me, but he's proper budget at 5.5 million. He starts every game, despite the fact he only got 1 assist against Sheffield United. He still picked up a bonus point in that, and yeah, he's a BPS magnet because of all the key passes, obviously on pens and corners, like we've said before. So, also, I mean, we'll get onto it in a minute a little bit about Gordon replacements. He would probably be the top of my list after any double game week players for Gordon replacements as well, to be honest.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that probably wraps up Villa. Do you want to chit chat about the next preview?
Yeah, so I was going to talk about Wolves and Brentford, because obviously Brentford have the double as well. That's coming up this week. Seems like a good point to bring either of them in as well. Like Brentford, like Tony too. Seems like a good fixture this week for him. So yeah, Wolves form though, they're doing pretty well at the moment. Win, loss, draw, and then triple wins after that. The fixtures are Brentford at home, Tottenham away, Sheffield United at home in 26, which is a big one, and then Newcastle away, and then Fulham at home. So the fixtures are pretty good, and obviously they've been winning, so it doesn't really matter at the moment anyway. XG of 10.9, which is 9th, which is mid-table. XGC of 10.5, which is 16th. So I wouldn't be picking up any of their defenders anytime soon, but their attack certainly looks good. 75 shots, which is 13th, 16 big chances, which is 8th. 16 goals, and then 8 goals conceded. They've scored more goals than City have over the last 6 weeks. So,
nice.
Yeah, pretty good. Brentford's wide. Their form is shockingly bad. Loss, win, and then 3 losses again after that. So it might be one of the worst forms in the league. The XG of 7.6, which is 15th. XGC of 9.3, which is 9th. So their defense has been performing better overall over the last 6 weeks than their attack. But obviously, Tony comeback has helped them in the attack. They've definitely looked more promising going forward, and they've sort of shown some fight. And they didn't look like they were not able to score against City. So I think Tony, as someone said in the chat, or GV said in the chat, Tony could be fixture proof. The double other than this Wolves game is as bad as it could possibly get with City and Liverpool. So he's had 8, 10, and 2 since returning. It's obviously blank last game, but he basically provided the assist for Mopai's goal by barging Ake out the way.
Loved it.
But obviously didn't get any points for an FPL assist. But he absolutely passes the eye test. He looks as good as he ever has, really. I think he is a good option. But it's just, as I discussed earlier, is he worth selling a Solanke? Is it worth selling a Watkins to get onto Tony for this double? I don't know. I'm not sure is my answer to that. Like he's looked good, but it just feels super risky. Two fixtures is better, definitely better than 1. And I think they play in 26 as well, if I recall.
Who, Brentford? Sorry.
Yeah, Brentford.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah,
they do. So it's West Ham United away, which is fine, I suppose. Anyway, so other than that, Cunha, I just wanted to mention from the Wolves side. As I said, they've got Sheffield United in 26, which is obviously a great fixture. In 25, they got Tottenham away, which is not bad for attack. So Cunha, off the back of his hat trick last week. 5.7 million, 6.7% owned. So he's being overlooked by basically the whole game. Like, he's the fifth highest scoring forward with 107 points, and he's only behind Slanky, Alvarez, Haaland, and Watkins. But he's got a lower like team selected by them, like loads of the picks in that are way below him. So he's basically highly overlooked by the whole game. Like everyone's overlooking him, just not picking him, and he's just returning. His XG of 3.29, which is fourth of forwards, which is obviously pretty good. 18 shots, 4 big chances, an XA of 0.76, 9 key passes, which is second, and 3 big chances created. So he's doing it from XG and XA side. He's looking good on both metrics. I think that if you're looking to sell a Darwin, for example, after the blank, Cunha for Sheffield United at home, that's tasty to me. Yeah. Does there seem like a better person to pick up in that week? Like, not really.
Don't think so. No.
Like, what Sheffield, like Bournemouth? You could look at Bournemouth. Well, Bournemouth got Man City at 26, so no, you don't want to look at Slank.
Wolves for sure.
Yeah. Like Neto as well. Like, he's 2.7% owned, 5.7 million. I've got down here, he's got fragile hamstrings, which is a strange thing to say, but he just definitely does.
True.
But
it's true.
But when he's on the pitch, he's proven that he gets returns. Of the 13 fixtures he's played this year, when he's played more than 60 minutes, he's only actually blanked 3 times.
Wow.
Which is really good. Average is basically an assist a game, but he rarely hauled at like double digits. He's only got 2 of those. And he doesn't seem to have a preference of home and away. He seems to do it on both, which is obviously great. But then at the same time, South Korea are now out. Hwang's going to be back. 5.5 million. He's got 100 points, right? And he's ahead of Gross, Diaby, Sterling, Odegaard. All those guys have just been darlings in FPL, and he's missed like the last 3 games at the Asia Cup, so he could have been like possibly one of the top scoring mids, like close towards the Bowen area, something like 116, which is like 5th. The Palmer area, who's obviously, everyone loves Palmer. Like, he's only 112 points. He's only 12 points behind Palmer. So, yeah, after missing those games as well, like Hwang and these fixtures that are coming up, seems like a good option. He was on pens when he was playing. Cunha took the last one in the last game to help him get a hat-trick. But is Hwang going to get them back? Is Hwang definitely going to get back in the side? Because they've been looking really good lately. So I assume he will. But it's just maybe you want to wait and see and just bring them in towards the 26 blank.
He's actually like one of my biggest regrets of the season, to be honest, because I had him for those 4 games before the Asian Cup, and then I just lost faith with him with 2 blanks in a row, and then like in the 2 games after that where I would have had him, he got 20 points, and I was like 14 points away at Brentford. I was like, who are you? Like, it was his highest haul of the season, and I just got rid of him. It does, yeah. So yeah, but to be fair, like, I've had him, so I wouldn't be opposed to get him again. And to be honest, I like Wolves, like you say, because of that Sheffield United pick. A lot of players who are going to blank in 26, I might even take a hit to get 2 Wolves players in, because I fancy that fixture so much. I think Sheffield United, after that Aston Villa game, are pretty much dead and buried, and Wolves are the kind of team that could take advantage of that. Like you say, they're decent going forward.
Yeah, they're, like it said, their form is really good. They've only lost 1 of the last 6, so and then the rest of them basically been wins other than 1 draw. Like, and they're scoring a lot of goals too. Like, this is not the Wolves that we were used to a couple of years ago, when you would basically play any defense against them and expect a clean sheet. They look good. Neto is obviously good. Cunha's good. Hwang's good. Like, that is a good front 3. Yeah, that is obviously providing, and a force to be reckoned with for sure.
Yeah, Gary O'Neill's done like a good job. You're right. Like, from where they were last season to this, they're actually quite exciting going forward, and they've got lots of, for us, like, good FPL options, and they're all like reasonably priced. I've wanted to get Cunha, but you're right, there's too much competition for forward spots at the moment with doubles and high profile players. But if you're playing 5 in midfield, Neto / Hwang are just good options instead of a enabler like Gordon, who I'll just jump onto now. So I hadn't realised until today that he'd even gone off. And then I was thinking, maybe
like, half time.
Yeah, I know. I thought because he's so good at getting yellow cards. I kind of just saw 4 points, and I just thought, must a yellow card. And I hadn't even really clocked that he'd only done 45 minutes. So yeah, it turns out he twisted his ankle, and apparently the news was after I read up on it that he'd left the stadium with his ankle in a boot. So
hasn't that already happened this season though? And he played next game.
yeah, I know. I don't know. So anyway, he's a maybe. He's high owned, so I thought it'd be worth sort of mentioning some replacements. He's like 21% ownership, which is nearly a quarter of the game, fifth of the game. You've discussed Neto. I've talked about Douglas Luiz, who would be sort of both close to the top. Also Huang as well. From budget point of view, if you're looking to downgrade from there, we spoke about this earlier. Garnacho at 4.8 million, Barkley 4.9 million. Now you were down on Barkley when I said Barkley. Why were you down on Barkley?
I don't know. I just don't expect him to be returning that much. But yeah, I guess he has like 2 doubles coming up, doesn't he? So yeah,
he's not bad now. He's 4 returns in the last 4 game weeks. He's providing like similar price like benefits to Garnacho. Only half a dozen midfielders have had more shots than his 25 since game week 14. He's got 3 goals and 4 assists in this period, peaking with Saturday's big haul at Newcastle. So he's their main creator, and I don't think he'll ever get benched. Whereas Garnacho might. Garnacho similarly said 1 fewer return in his last 4 game weeks, but he seems pretty fixed now on the right hand side with 90 minutes in the last 5.
He's taken over Anthony's spot for sure,
which is good really. Like Barkley, great value. He's third amongst sub 7 million midfielders for attempts. He's had 46 and first for shots in the box, 37. Additionally, since game week 11, only Saka has only betted his penalty area touches. So both, I think, if you're looking to move from a 3-5-2 to a 3-4-3, and you're looking for like a budget player to stick on your bench as like your 8th attacker, I think Barkley and Garnacho are both good options. And even though you did a bit of a poo-poo on Barkley earlier, I think because he's got 2 doubles and he's benchable, he's not a bad option. But then at the same time, when you get into those double game weeks, are you really wanting to play like Ross Barkley ahead of a City or Liverpool player in 25, maybe in 29, 28 a bit better. But anyway, they're both good options, I think.
Yeah, on just on Garnacho, they've got Luton away in 25, and then Fulham at home in 26. So those are good fixtures too.
Yeah. I think both could be nice options. And to be honest, like if Gordon's out, I hadn't thought about holding him, long term necessarily, even though Newcastle have got these fixtures. But, I'll very much wait to see, and I'm sure the rest of the managers will. But someone like a Barkley who's going to get like a big group of fixtures and you don't have to play him very much and he could be benched he's not a bad.
Would you look at a Palmer out to him?
Maybe.
To a Barkley maybe?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
Because Chelsea have Man City in 25, and then they blank 26. So certainly feels like a good place to go to.
Yeah, and I think they're going to blank in 29 as well, aren't they, Chelsea? I think that's... I get so lost at who's doing what. It hasn't been announced yet, but yeah, they've got Brentford and Newcastle. They've got Brentford away, which I think is a tough game as well.
Isn't it if Villa win, then Chelsea play? Is that right?
Oh, it might be that.
Something like that.
Wow.
I think Villa and Chelsea play tonight, don't they? In the Cup? Yeah.
That's right. Cool. Right. Should we just unless you got any more to add, should we just talk about our teams going into this?
No, I think that's it for now. Yeah.
Super duper. Right. Kieran's team. You can go first.
Okay, so I have 2 free transfers still. I've got 3.4.
Those for ages.
Yeah, I've just been dealing with just 1 transfer most weeks and just playing it safe. Yeah, so 3.4 million in the bank still. I've got the Konsa injury. I've got like no bench. Taylor, don't know when he's going to be back. Nakamba's out, so I think I'll probably just do 1 again. I think it's probably Konsa. I'd like to sell Gusto because he's just going to be an issue as well because they've got a blank and they've got City. So,
what about that penalty he gave away as well?
I didn't actually see that, but I heard he was terrible.
Oh god, he looks awful. I don't know if I've seen him play in the highlight. I was just like, God, you're bad. It was like such a blatant penalty as well.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
So yeah, for me, Konsa probably out to a Liverpool defender. It's just deciding which one. I'm definitely well, as far as I know, I'm priced out of Trent. So it's probably going to be VVD or Bradley. Bradley would be nice for what am I saying? Budget. But like I said, it would be nice to just not go for him yet for 1 week, just so I can
Yeah.
see that he definitely plays. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a defensive transfer of Gusto or Conser out
So
basically at this
not
point.
a, oh yeah, you've already got 3 City. Okay, so all right. So a defensive transfer to a Liverpool player.
Yeah, or maybe I could get Doughty. Like I don't fancy Luton for any clean sheets really, but he's just been plugging away with some assists, hasn't he? So I see he seems to be in quite a few teams on Twitter now. So yeah, maybe Doughty from Luton.
Here's a question which I'm sure is going to be quite a straightforward answer. If Foden, De Bruyne, Haaland are benched and because it's the first game of the game week get leaked, no, you're not going to make any transfers? You just bench them for a week or play them and hope they come on?
No, I don't think I'd move. Yeah, because they've got the double, so
yeah.
we'll just keep them. Yeah.
Fine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Same. And Haaland captain is quite an easy decision, I think, this week, even though it's the first game of the game week.
Yeah, I think Vice will be probably on Darwin, maybe,
Darwin,
which seems crazy, but I just hope that Darwin plays. Yeah, Watkins, yeah, maybe, yeah. It's not a bad fixture at home, I suppose.
All right, I think my team's quite similar. I feel like we've not had that much of a similar team all season, yet we're quite closely ranked, which is quite strange. But anyway, so I think I'm probably going to roll this week. So then I've got 2 transfers for the double, not that I necessarily need them. Happy to play Bell because I feel like Sheffield United at home is a fixture you play him in, and they kept a clean sheet there last time.
Yeah.
Gusto looked absolutely crud, so happy to back the home fixture. Yeah, pretty much the same, really. Not much to say. I'm going to keep Gordon on the bench and see if he comes back. Yeah.
Just say you were rolling, is that what you said?
Yeah, I think I'm going to roll.
Yeah.
I don't really think I've got much to do. Vice captaincy on Richarlison just because it's a different team. Maybe it'll be Jota. But yeah, I feel like quite happy about this. And then when we just get to the double game week, I'll have 2 transfers and I'll have enough cash in the bank, I think, to be able to get Salah and Foden if I want. Because I think I'm going to try and aim to have at least 2 Liverpool players and 3 City players plus.
Yeah,
Bell
and you'd be selling who to get Salah?
Probably Richarlison.
Right. Okay.
Because he'll blank as well, won't he?
So you're not looking at Liverpool defence either?
Don't think so. No, I don't
really?
think so.
Interesting.
Depends. Well, if Bradley starts, I could do something nice where I get rid of Porro, Richarlison and Palmer and probably do Bradley, Salah and Foden, which would be really nice.
Yeah, because I've got Porro as well. He's also an issue for 26. Yeah, not enough transfers and
I know.
Too many issues.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, Liverpool defender's probably good for this game.
But then after that,
after the blank, probably not so good. So yeah, it's definitely difficult. But I think I'm just going to roll and give myself just some more time to make a decision. And also, I don't think I need to make a transfer this week. Like I've got 11 plus 1 with Gusto. So yeah.
Yeah, I think what's his name? Gapco looked really bad as well. So I think Jota, Darwin, and Diaz front 3 should be the way forward for most of these games. Unless obviously Salah's back. He's been posting loads of gym pics on his Instagram lately, so don't know if that means he's close or not, but his legs are out and stretched and everything.
Lovely.
So
I hope he is.
Yeah, he can't be that far away, but it's just is he going to go straight into playing a double in 90 minutes both games? Probably not, right? Yeah. So
whereas Haaland went straight back in for 90. So
yeah, it's different. It's like hamstring is different to a sort of fracture on a bone or whatever. It's like hamstrings can just easily happen again if they're not taken or dealt with cautiously, I suppose.
Yeah. No, I agree. Hopefully we'll get some news from Klopp this and next week, and then we can make a decision on it. But if he isn't back, it does make it probably easier to get other players, if that makes sense.
Yeah, this is barely ever seems to happen to Salah. He's not really had many muscular injuries, and I feel like as soon as it starts to happen once, it's so easy to go again, like we've seen with James and Reece James and players like that. So, hopefully this is not a downward spiral for Salah.
No, definitely not. Cool. All right. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Excellent.
Indeed.
All right. We'll be back again next next Wednesday as we preview double game week 25, which I think is an exciting one. It feels like we've been building towards it for ages because it's City and Liverpool.
There'll be chips flying around. People are looking at bench boosts. People looking at triple captains.
We haven't talked about that yet, but I would quite like to play the triple captain next week just to get it out of the way.
I'll be interested for sure.
Yeah, Haaland looks like a possibility for that one. Cool.
Or Salah. Maybe,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Nice to talk.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining all the questions, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Cheers.